When you think about Dolly Parton, you think about country music, you think about Nashville, Tennessee, you think about a woman who has made her mark in the music field not only as a performer but a writer, and you think about somebody who is maybe the prototype of many people's image of what a female country superstar would be. Let's go back to the start. You come from Sevierville, Tennessee.
Right.
And you and I have talked about this before. I asked you the proper pronunciation.
You know, most people call my hometown Sevierville, which is very, very common, but it's actually pronounced Sevierville, and as I was telling you, a good way to remember it is to think of something very severe, like Dolly Parton. No, but I was born and raised in Sevierville, Tennessee, in Sevier County. That's 200 miles east of Nashville, and that's in the foothills of the Great Smoky Mountain National Park. And, of course, it was a great way of life for me. I'm from a large family. There's 12 children in my family, 6 girls and 6 boys. My daddy was a farmer, so he had to raise enough kids to work the fields. Instead of having to hire hired hands, he just raised his own kids. So I love that area. I've been in Nashville for 12 years now.
What's the difference between country people who come from the country, the way you did, and country people who come from the city?
I think it's just the way of life. I think all people, whether you're from the north, south, east, or west, overseas, or whatever, I think everybody is the same. You laugh, you cry, you feel hurt, you feel hate, you feel love, you have the same emotions. But it's a way of life, and country music and country people, I think, is very simple. It's a simple way of life. Talking about country people as I would be considered a country person, being brought up near the earth, you're just very earthy. You come to love and know nature as nature is. You love your land, you love your family. You know that's all you have. So you're a very slow moving person, even though all the country people that I've known, unless it was a person ill with some mental problem, they're very clever people, very sharp and bright because they have such common sense. They're so aware of things around them, and they're very insulted by people thinking they're less than intelligent. My daddy has no education, but he's one of the smartest people I've ever known in my life. My mother only went to like the 6th or 7th grade, and she's a brilliant woman. But you can be self-taught, and that sometimes is the best education of all. But anyway, getting back to the difference in country people as you know them and country people as I know them, I just think it's just the way of life, the way that you're brought up. And in country music, I think the reason that the country people as I know them love the basic hardcore country, they can relate to it. They identify with it. It's simple stories told in a simple way about simple everyday living. Simple everyday problems. They can understand that. They relate to it. It's the kind of music we make in the mountains. It's the kind of music you can sit on the front porch and play and sing. And I love the way I was brought up. I'm so proud, of my upbringing. Even though I've been away from home for a good number of years and I've experienced a lot of other things, you still never lose your roots. And the people in the country where I'm from, they're real proud of the things that I've achieved and the success that I've achieved. And I don't think they're ever really offended by the fact that I do things that other people in other fields of music enjoy and seem to enjoy. I think they take great pride in that. At least I hope so.
Yeah, it's interesting that you point out that they do take pride, the people that you've encountered who go back to your roots. And I'm sure you still know a lot of the people from your home community, because I would imagine a place like Sevierville, Tennessee, hasn't changed that much over the last decade or two. But you, having lived the early part of your life in that environment, and then crossing over that imaginary wall to suddenly international prominence, road tours, hobnobbing with well-known people from different walks of life. In other words, expanding the scope of your experience. Have you ever found yourself resenting the hometown when you come back to it, as many people do, because they measure the distance they've traveled by the stagnation that still exists where they come from? And you haven't experienced that at all.
Oh, no. I love my people. And I know almost everybody in Sevier County, and everybody knows me. But for me to be ashamed of my people would be to make me less person than I like to think myself as being. You know, it's I mean, how could you? That's like being ashamed of your mama and your daddy, being ashamed
Exactly.
of your upbringing in your hometown. In fact, I can't do enough for the people of my hometown. Like, we have a Dolly Parton scholarship fund, even though I didn't like school personally, and I was not a good student. But I wanted to do something for the children in Sevier County, that if there was some way that I could help. And so every year we do a show, and all the money goes into a scholarship foundation, and also to buy uniforms for the Sevier County High School band, and, you know, for scholarships for less fortunate kids that couldn't afford to go to school, that do have the intelligence and the desire to want to continue. It's just something we can do, and I'll never outgrow my home and my family. I tell you, I think one of the reasons that a lot of people do change with success, a lot of people want to be a performer or an entertainer so they can become something else because they never liked what they was to start with. A real person will always be real. A real person will remain the same. You will always appreciate the things you have always appreciated. When you do change, it's because you didn't know who you was, where you came from. You didn't know how to appreciate the good things in life. But I've always said a person that's real to begin with will end the same.
How has your music changed as a result of your outside experiences?
Well, I tell you what, in my music, I think that my music has changed only with the growth of me and with my knowledge of the world and seeing things, and you have to grow. You have to keep up with the times. I mean, who wants to be left behind? I don't. I'm not trying necessarily to cross over. I hope I do, but if anybody should ever ask me what I am, I would say I am a country person. There's nothing else I can be. But that don't mean my music can't go other directions. And, I will do things that will be considered probably rock or pop. And then I will also do something that's considered so country that, that it's just... Because I don't think I have to be a certain thing unless that thing is just me.
When you are creative and you do expand into other types of music, which you do you find that the loyalist following that you have, who love Dolly Parton, country artist, representative of the country world, do you find that they resent you at all?
You know, I don't believe so. I think that there possibly are a few people in the business, in the country music business, that are possibly afraid for me that I'm making a mistake. Maybe there are a few people that do resent the fact that I'm trying to do other things. But as far as my audience, my fans, I think they have come through the years to love me as a person. That's what I'd like to think. And that anything that's part of me is part of them. And that anything that I feel a need to express is something that is just, that is just part of that friendship and that fanship. Whatever. I think they care more about me as a person than they're going to worry about my music. I really and truly believe that, because I'm not ever going to desert my people. But that don't mean I'm not going to make other fans, new fans, or that I'm not going to try to. It's like I've said before, I'm not leaving the country. I'm just going to take it with me where I'm going.
Right.
And that, I feel, is anywhere I want to go. If I do something good enough, people are going to like it. And it don't make any difference whether it's country or pop or whatever. If it's not good enough, you shouldn't like it. You'd be doing me a favor not to like it, or not to, try to promote something that's not good enough. But if I should come up with something good enough to be considered just a good piece of music, that's all I'm interested in. It don't have to have a label on it. I'm a human being. I'm an individual person. I like to think I'm very original and creative. And when you are original and creative, you don't have time to worry about what people are going to think. It's not for money I do this. This is the great joy of my life, my music. It's my self-expression. It's the way that I relieve all the tensions of all the daily problems or whatever, the way that I write, what I write into my songs. And that's really, it's a great compliment for me to do something and to know that people will accept it and even enjoy it enough to want to buy it or to request it. But I'll tell you a secret. I would work in a restaurant to finance this if I couldn't make it as a singer or writer. I'm sure that I would do anything to at least keep trying, because I have to. I love to sing, I love to write, and I love to perform. And I've done it before. I've worked at other things so I could go out on the weekends and sing and perform and, write songs in the middle of other things because I love it. It's the one love of my life, the one true love.
It's that love and that drive that is sort of the X factor that makes a talented person succeed. Without that, it's very difficult.
That's true. I don't consider myself one of the great talents of the world. I just know I love to do it. Now, I have seen some people that, had 20 times more talent than I'll ever dream of having, that never do anything with it because their attitude is so wrong. Just like you were talking, you got to have that drive and that ambition, and I truly believe that drive and that will is more than half of any success, because you just have to be positive about it. I'm positive I can do it. I'm sure that I'm not that great, but I am positive I will do it because I said I would, and because I believe I can. I see no reason why I can't do it.
Well, obviously, there has been no reason to prove you can't do it because you've overcome any possible reason.
Well, everybody sings and everybody writes.
Right.
And there are a few people that can just walk right into town and just land a contract right away. And then there are people that have been there for years, like I said, twice as talented as the one that got a contract. And you wonder why that is. I think I know a big part of it goes back to what we just talked about before. It's that sparkle in your eye and that drive and that positive attitude about you. People, if they see that you're that sincere, they're almost afraid not to try you, because if you have that great confidence. I don't mean that to be a vain statement for anybody. And, it should be something taken with pride, because there's nothing I despise worse than somebody talking about how great they are. Even if they are, that's just a big turn off to me. I do respect and appreciate belief, positive thinking.
It's the way it's done. You mentioned the sparkle in the eye can say that you are
great.
great.
A positive attitude.
Right, without it being
said verbally. You don't have to say it.
Exactly.
But you have to, you do have to promote it when you have nobody else. You say, I truly believe that that I have something to offer, and if I had a chance, I would like to try to prove it. There are some people that can say those words and say it with authority, and people will believe them now. There are some people that can say those words because they practiced it and they don't really mean it. They're afraid that it's not going to work, and sure enough it don't. I'm a firm believer in positive thinking. I grew up with the world's greatest positive thoughts. I have no negative sides about me. I think possibly I got that from my religious background and in the country. We lived on faith. You have no money. You have to live on faith, and if somebody gets sick, you have to believe they're going to get well. So you're self-taught with that positive attitude. But faith and belief is where it's at. I truly believe that. I just believe that all things are possible if you believe. I'm real excited about my life, and I like the kind of person that I am, because I'm very ordinary and down to earth, because that's just the way I was brought up. I have an artificial look. I wear the gaudy hair and the makeup and the gaudy clothes. That's something I enjoy. It's kind of like a gimmick anymore. It was something when the style was out, I was doing that. But when everybody else started changing, and I didn't, because I was involved in other things, and then I noticed people saying, well, you should change your hairstyle. You should do this and that. And I thought, oh, somebody noticed. And I thought, well, if somebody's going to notice that much, I'll just hang on to it. And at least if I'm in a situation like now, and we run out of things to talk about, we can always talk about my hair.
Do you find
or my makeup.
Do you find that people bring that up a lot in interview situations? Do they ask you why your hair is that way?
Yeah.
The first thing I thought of when I saw you is that your hair doesn't look exactly the same as it's looked in many of your pictures. Did you cut it?
No. Today I have on a short little shag, little stylish looking wig. Very ordinary and very,
well, that explains it.
Yeah.
Well, you fooled me.
But see, I can do what I please. That's why I wear the wigs, and that's why I say, if you are your own person and you do love people, you have the freedom to be what you are. I do it halfway for a kick and halfway because I enjoy it. I do it halfway to arouse people's curiosity, and then, I have my own reasons for enjoying it. I just enjoy it. Like I wear wigs often. My own hair is much nicer. I have little time to do it, and I like it to look a certain way because people expect it. You'd be real surprised if I came in here with my hair combed down. Because you already, I'm sure, before I came today, you pictured what I would probably look like from seeing me in a picture or something. Had I
Yes.
looked different, it would have been like a a disappointment, even though you might have liked it better. You might have thought in all truth that it might have looked better. But
Absolutely.
I'm sure you would have been
Absolutely.
disappointed, because that's like Elton John coming in a suit
You're right.
and a crew cut or a bow tie.
Something other than
yeah.
what people expect.
But I enjoy that. I think you owe it to the people. It's like something else that I can kid the people with, or kind of just in a joking, cute, funny way. When somebody asked me about it, it would be different if I was so ignorant that I didn't know the difference. I don't know what's in style, and I don't even care. I have never been a follower.
I'm sure many young ladies going into country music consider looking like Dolly Parton because they think that is an image that people expect of that type, and there aren't many Dolly Partons in the world.
Well, it's just something, like I say, that I enjoy. Right. I have my own reasons for doing it, and someday soon.
And the way you say that, I'm not going to ask what they are.
No, someday soon, I guess I really mainly, I'm a real stubborn person about my beliefs. And I have always wanted to prove that if you have enough talent to do something, you can overcome anything with that. How you look, you don't have to look a certain way. You don't have to be a certain way. You don't have to follow every fad that comes along. You don't have to follow everything that changes in the world. If you still remain the same, people will get to thinking, well, now, why didn't she go along with that when it was, this and that? So then they think, well, there must be something there. So then they stop a minute, and at least they're aware, not that they'd want to do what I do, but at least they're aware of the fact that there is somebody that don't just like to do what everybody else does. I like to do what I do. I enjoy it. I like to share that with anybody that wants to share it with me. Not that I wouldn't have anybody looking like me. I think they'd be crazy for somebody to dress like me or to wear this gaudy hair. It wouldn't be right for somebody else, but it wouldn't be right for me not to do it.
Right. Not to belabor your look and style, but it just brought to mind a question, a two-parted question. Part one, before you were Dolly Parton, the singer, writer, performer, star, what was your style? And after that, is there a side of you, a style, that you reserve for your private, personal life?
Before I was a star, I started writing songs when I was 5 years old. I started playing guitar when I was 6 and 7. I started on radio and television when I was 10. I had always that great desire to be a star. I didn't even know what a star was. I just knew it was something that shined, and that's what I wanted to do, was to shine. Then when I was 15 years old is when this style came out of the big hair and all that. Well, I started that then, and since then it's been the same. And but a side of me at home, I tell you what, it's something I enjoy so much that it's become like a part of my personality. I even expect it of myself.
When you look in the mirror in the morning, you expect to see Dolly Parton.
Oh, well, naturally, I wash my face, and when I'm around home and all that, I don't really wear as much makeup as people think. I do wear makeup, but I think it's the extreme hair that,
No, you're not terribly made up right now.
No, I really don't. I'm not ever terribly made up.
You look pretty good to me, though.
No, but I'm just saying, it's not like,
right.
That sort of thing where you're just all plastic and all paint and powder. But the hair is the most extreme thing. Of course, there are a few other things that people tend to point out, but that's something that's there naturally, which I have been accused of it being different. But anyway, at home, like if I'm writing or if I'm just really being casual, I just comb my own hair, just comb it. Well, brush it. Of course, naturally, I take care of myself. I like to think I'm a clean, healthy person. I wear wigs because they are really handy, and I'm so involved in my work. This is such a convenient gimmick that it makes no sense at all, because I'm not one to be able to sit in a beauty shop for hours or under a hairdryer. I can't stand that stuff. I just cannot. It takes me less time to get ready than I'm sure any woman I can be totally dressed in 20 to 30 minutes with makeup, hair, and all, because it's just a matter of putting on makeup in my clothes. And I, with my own hair, I comb my own hair in the front. You always see me, what you see around my face is my own hair. But like I say, it's just a convenient thing. It's the same as people wearing a scarf or a hat to keep them taken care of things. But I don't have any other look that I would prefer but this, other than just a natural look when it's time to be natural.
Talking about you as the multifaceted artist, it's said, and rightly so, that you're one of the world's leading female songwriters, as well as one of the world's leading songwriters. You're also a performer. Deep inside, which do you enjoy more?
My writing. I don't know why that is. I suppose because it's something that is totally mine, something that is totally me, that I can give. It's like a gift, my gift to the world, if they want to accept it in the faith in which it is given, so to speak. That's what I'll leave behind. I don't ever want to die, and I never will, because I saw a sign once. In fact, somebody, I don't mean die, and we all die, and I have no fear of that, but I just mean I want to leave something to show that I was here. I'm glad that I can, but I have a little plaque that says, "A dreamer lives forever," and I don't know who wrote that, but it was something given to me for my birthday, and I thought that was a terrific saying, because we're all dreamers, especially songwriters, especially creative people. And I really felt like that meant that, if a dreamer lives forever, just what it says. Long after I'm gone, I would like to think somebody 100 years from now, and there'll always be a love for music, I'm sure, that maybe somebody might pick up a song of mine or some sort of a book or something I'd written and say, well, look at this. This was 100 years ago, and so said this, and, she did that. But I suppose that it is what I feel that I can truly leave. I don't pride myself on being a great singer or a great performer even, but I would like to think that someday that I will be considered a great writer. I hope that I will be, at least.
Well, I think you already are considered
that's
that.
hard for me to know, because
Yes.
a person never knows. It's like I will never, in my own mind, be a star. You just can't be to yourself. You know yourself too well.
Too well.
Yeah,
yes.
Now everybody that's a star, I'm just so fascinated. Like last night I had dinner with Olivia and some other people in the business, and I thought, Lord, I'm sitting at the table with Olivia Newton-John, and she was thinking the same thing about me. And
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, I thought, Lord, how could anybody, I don't know, it's just a really strange thing. But I guess that's one of the great joys of being able to remain childlike enough to, still be excited about things. I'm a very excitable person. I just get so excited about things. But I guess in a way that's another reason that I'm real creative. I have so many feelings that run so deep that it's only natural for me to write them down. I can't hold all that inside.
Well, your songs are full of feeling and depth and reflect a sincere and simple, like you said, the sincere simple is really sometimes the most complex when you start analyzing it. But they're very pure, real songs, and that's why many people like to record them. How do you feel hearing someone else perform something that you wrote, knowing, like you said, you know yourself, knowing what it's about, where it's coming from, and hearing someone else do it? What does that do to you?
Oh, I tell you, it puts chills on me. There's nothing that gives you a greater feeling than being a writer and hearing somebody else sing your songs, even though they may not know all the story behind the thing. Every singer has his own expression, and he may take it and take it for something totally different than it is, but something that means something to him or her, that they can apply that to something they know and read a whole different meaning into it, but it's still just as effective.
Right.
But it is really a great compliment for anybody to record your song. In fact, last night we were talking about Jolene, which is a song of mine that Olivia recorded.
And many
she
other
had a
people.
#1 record in Japan on the song. I had a #1 record on Jolene in England and here in the States. And I had a Japanese girl record the song, and they send me the records, and to hear your song recorded in a foreign language, or to think that somebody in another part of the world knows who you are and that likes something good enough that you've done, and it gives you the strangest feeling, especially somebody in a foreign language. To she's singing, how'd she say, I don't remember now how they say Jolene in Japan, but it was really funny. But the music was great, the voicing was great, but I had no earthly idea what she was saying, except when she'd do the word Jolene, Jolene, Jolene. It was just reminiscent to something I'd written.
Now, having expressed that feeling, and knowing the way it feels to have someone else do your songs, do you ever take into consideration how the writers of other material that you do will react to your interpretation?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in fact, I have a prime example of that. The song Boulder to Birmingham that I recorded of Emmylou Harris, and a friend of hers wrote the song together. And I heard something totally different. I have no idea what she really wrote the song about, or what they wrote the song about. I thought I had a pretty good idea. I wasn't really sure. But there was a situation in my own life that I could relate to what that song was saying. And she didn't sing the song in a sad way, but it was something that I remembered that I could relate most of that song to. And it was a very emotional thing for me to do. As a matter of fact, when I recorded that song, it was so personal, and I was reading so much into it, not knowing what she had in it, but knowing what I only heard and felt, that I got so emotional that I even cried when I was recording that song. Because the melody was so haunting and such an emotional melody to sing. But I could read between the lines, even though it's an abstract song, really. There's no way you can know what it meant without knowing the story. So you can apply yourself to what you think it might mean.
Many songs are like that, where there impressionism in the songs, and just certain sounds, certain combinations of words trigger off the imagination for you to put in the pieces to fill in the gaps.
But I don't know what other people would think of something I would do of theirs. Naturally, nobody's going to be rude enough to tell you if they were disappointed in the way you recorded, or if they would have preferred you done it more what they had in mind.
Most of them are so thrilled that you're doing it in the first place.
Well, I really don't do that many songs outside of my own. Not that.
That's why one would be very honored to have Dolly Parton do one's song.
I don't know about that, but I thank you for that nice compliment. I've recorded a couple of things that are all-time favorites of mine, and that's something I enjoy doing. And I hope to, as time goes on, do more and more things outside. I love to do my own stuff, but I get tired of my own songs too. I enjoy, as a singer, singing something other than my own songs, because you're so close to your own stuff. It's a treat to get to sing something somebody else's. That's the only way anybody's going to ever know if you're a stylist as a singer as well as a writer, because if they never hear you do anything but your own songs, they have nothing to compare it to. You sing it a certain way, and that's part of you. But when you can take somebody else's song and do it your own way, then they think, well, now that's really different. That's unusual, or that sounds really different. Then they know that you might have a style as a singer as well as just as a writer.
Very true. And speaking of the new album, I'd like to talk about it. Now, by the time this is being heard, the album will have been out. At the time that this conversation is being recorded, for the sake of our listeners, the album has yet to be released. I have had the privilege of hearing advance tapes of it. Interestingly enough, on the advance tapes, all I had were the titles of the songs, and I don't know the title of the album. So could you, to start that off, even though now, in retrospect, listening to it on the radio, that people listening now know the name of the album, I'm just reminding them that this was recorded prior to its release. So what is the name of the new album?
The album is called New Harvest First Gathering, which means a great deal. It's the first chance I had to express total freedom with my music. It's the first time I've been involved in, having total freedom as, the producing of the thing, even though I had lots of help from all the people in my group, especially a guy by the name of Greg Perry, who co-produced the album, even though I had many, many creative thoughts from, different people in the group. But there's not a song called New Harvest First Gathering. That's just something I felt I wanted to call it for many reasons. But this is an album that I'm real excited about. I truly feel like that it's the best thing I've done to date. Of course, I may be wrong, because it's really easy to overdo something, to overproduce, to get too involved, when you're excited about something. I just hope that it's not overdone or underdone, or at least I hope the variety is enough there to where it's enjoyable. But I'm excited.
The thing that I notice is such a remarkable diversity of styles. Everything from whatever country sounds like, country-sounding music, to interpretations of rhythm and blues songs. I believe you have a Jackie Wilson song, Higher and Higher, with a little fancy fiddling in there and a good beat, and Light of a Clear Blue Morning, which sounds like a good Dolly Parton song. What went into your planning in putting it together? What did you try to accomplish this time around?
Well, I wanted to do an album where I could have, like I say, total freedom of expression. And I'm sure everybody has heard me do all the country things that I could possibly do. But that's not to say that I won't, in the next album, go back and do a lot of the simpler things. I just wanted to kind of be outrageous, I suppose, and, just really get some heavy things. And I just wanted to see what it would be like. So I chose some of the songs, my favorite songs that I've had. A lot of the songs in the album I wrote years ago, and just now done them because I wanted to hold them till I could do them the way that I heard them. But the song Higher and Higher, Jackie Wilson's old hit, has always been one of my very favorite songs. And I thought, well, I don't want to do it with horns because that's the way everybody does it. And I don't want to do it their way because I don't like to use somebody else's arrangement. So I thought, well, I'll put the heavy beat underneath a country suggestion of the banjo and the fiddle, which really turned out really nice, I thought. It's really a fascinating cut off of the album. I think it's kind of, it catches your attention.
It's a foot stomper.
Yeah, well, it's really a terrific song. I mean, it's just a perfect song to sing. I mean, there's no way you can not enjoy singing that song. But, and then I did another song that you had told me that before that you really liked, which is a song that I always loved. I think it was the Temptations.
Yes.
That had that out years ago. It was called My Girl. Well, for years I wanted to find a way to record that song, and I thought, well, now I can't sing it My Girl because she'll probably be furious with me. No, but it's so hard to take a song like that that's really just like a man's song, and you think, oh, I wish they'd used another word so I could sing it. And I thought, well, I could sing that if I just said My Love, which is very simple. Change. I didn't change anything in it except I just said My Love instead of My Girl. But I loved that song, and I was so excited about the way that turned out. It's just a real different sound. And then, too, I don't like to use, as I mentioned, other people's ideas. And the guitar lick that made the original song so powerful, the down, da 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 da. I always thought that was super. But I didn't want to use that because I thought that was like somebody's creative idea that I didn't want to steal. So I wanted to, to do a little different arrangement on it, so we used a little lick, but we did it on the piano, but we didn't use the same lick. But it still has its own sound. Its own little
oh, definitely.
sound.
As a matter of fact, I noticed when I was listening to it, first of all, I saw the title My Love, so I didn't think of My Girl. I didn't think it would be that song. So I went into listening to it thinking it's going to be either an original or a song that I am not familiar with, or maybe
the Beatles song.
I was going to say the Paul McCartney song of the same name, My Love Does
My
It.
Love
Yeah.
Does It Good.
Right. It took me a while to realize that this was, in fact, that Temptation song.
Mm-hmm.
So you really did give it your own interpretation.
I enjoyed doing it. I don't know, like I said, I don't know how good it is. I just know I enjoyed the difference in it. But on the album, it has also known as My Girl, so people, that are looking at the album, they can...
Oh, it says it on the album.
AKA, yeah.
Okay, 'cause
My Girl. It says My Love, and then also known as My Girl. So, and the Higher and Higher tune, those are the only two outside songs in the album. All the others are original tunes of mine.
Do you, before we talk about Light of a Clear Blue Morning, which absolutely knocks me out, and I'm sure people listening will agree, or I hope they do at least, do you see a similarity in intent and feeling between country music and rhythm and blues?
I see a great similarity. I always did. I've heard it often said that there is a great similarity. I think that's because of the earthiness and the realism, the suffering and the pain and the way you express it. I think it's, like the old-time country things are simple stories told in a simple way. I think the country things now and the R&B things are like the things of mine. I like to think that it's ordinary stories told in an extraordinary way with extraordinary arrangements and, something that will really catch your attention. But it's still very simple. I've often said I like to think my music is very simple, but yet in a way it's kind of complicated. because of the chord structure. I don't know music technically, so I just write totally from my heart and from my mind. But I think that it's simply complicated. We sort of touched on that before.
Yes, we did.
But it's still, that's really what it's like, because I never write anything that's not understood. I just can't. I'm not intelligent enough to write something deep enough to, that it wouldn't be understood, because I'm the kind of person I like to hear something I understand. I don't like to have to figure it out. And like if I'm listening to something on the radio, I don't like to have to guess what it is they might be talking about. I like to know. So
you like direct communication.
And I like to write my songs that way. So at least, like I say, naturally, I would know personal feelings. And on this particular song, Light of a Clear Blue Morning, that's a very personal song. That is my own true feelings of when I started out on my own. And there were so many other things that had held me back and had bound my hands in so many ways. Not anybody's fault, just a matter of circumstances and freedom that I needed to feel. So when I thought, well, I'm going out on my own, I'm going to change management, I'm going to change agencies, I'm going to get a new group, and I'm going to do the things I feel like that I can do in addition to the things I'm already doing. So then I wrote the song. It's been a long, dark night, and I've been waiting for the morning. The part I like most about that song, which really tells it all, and it's really self-explanatory, is the last verse where it says, it's been a long, long time since I've known the taste of freedom, and the clinging vines that had me bound, I don't need 'em, 'cause I've been like a captured eagle, and an eagle's born to fly. And now that I've won my freedom like an eagle, I am eager for the sky. And every time, I sing that, I just feel it's just like being able to say, woo, I'm free, look
That's
at me,
right.
like I can fly, it's something I really enjoy. And that, personally, is my favorite song on the album. I don't know if it will do as good or if it is the best song in the album or not, but I just know, personally, it is the one that means the most to me.
Well, it depends on what people want
Yeah.
from each particular song.
I just
I
hope-
understand exactly what you're saying. Higher and Higher and My Love are nice performances and enjoyable and very entertaining and nice, but that is Dolly Parton
Yeah, that's
expressing
me. It's self-expression.
herself. And
But I'm glad you like that, because I'd rather
Very
you
much.
have complimented that song than any of the others because of its personal nature.
Holding On to You. That's an there's an interesting track on that song.
You like that?
I like that very much. I would like to know, while you were recording that song, were you aware that there was an interesting track on that, the rhythm and the beat of that?
Sure.
It's a very difficult song to peg as to what style it is. It's a nice blend.
But I like that. I like to write songs like that. And when I write, I usually write my own arrangements. When I do write, in fact, every song I write has its own arrangement. Like that, I just sit around, and pick licks, like on the lick on Jolene, the guitar lick, the down, see, da 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 da. Well, when I write songs, I put that in it. That's part of the personality of the song. But like Holding On to You, I just like that kind of a feel, that chom 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 kind of rhythm. It's just like something you can just really.
It's a
feel.
universal feel.
But that is also, I think, my favorite song in the album is Light of a Clear Blue Morning. But I think the most commercial song, commercial meaning the most appealing to enough people. For a lot of times we use that expression, and the audience don't know what we mean by the most commercial. But a song liked by the majority of the people. It's simple enough. Everybody can sing it. Every local group can play it. It's got nothing involved about the chord changes, and it's just a real happy feeling. Even though the words are not necessarily happy, but they're not necessarily sad either. It's just talking about, somebody being a fool, holding on to somebody that don't love them anyway, which happens all the time. That is I'm like you. I don't know how I would define that. It's definitely not country, but it is as much as it is anything else. But it's not. Well, like I say, it could be R&B, it could be country, it could be considered anything. I like it. I think it's just a different little refreshing sound.
Me too. And I like Applejack.
Oh, I tell you a story about that. That's a true story. I love that. And I don't know if you know this or not, but the voices you heard on the background voices on Applejack. That's all the great people, not all the great people, but a number of the great people in country music. I wanted to put the people on something that had inspired me, that I think are still the best, no matter what anybody says. I mean, they have frontiered the way for people like me. But I had Roy Acuff, Kitty Wells, had Grandpa Jones, Chet Atkins, Minnie Pearl, and Hank Snow, Ernest Tubb. And, they just all came to the studio. My mama and daddy. I just wanted just something meaning something to me. I didn't know it'll be on the album, the credits will be on the album.
Yeah.
But that's a treasure to me. If that song never sold a nickel's worth, or this album never sold a nickel's worth, this is the greatest treasure of my life, this album. It has so much love and so much, it's just full of love, this album. All the people that were involved in it, the musicians. And
it's amazing that you told me now, because I didn't know that all those people were involved, either musically or just being there at the studio on Applejack. The feeling I get from that is that it's like a giant country gathering with good vibes, and everybody just, getting it on. Amazing that I got that impression without knowing the credits, that all those people were involved.
On this particular song, where you hear the laughing and the talking.
Yes.
They didn't know we were ready to record, and so we was just involved in it. And then I'd say, "Okay, sing," and everybody just sing. And
so
we
it's
only
a natural
did it
thing.
once.
That is a real.
We
those
only
are real
did it.
sound effects.
My mama, I can hear my mama laughing in the background. I can hear her talking, but I couldn't take that out in the mix. We had some discussion whether or not to just, punch in where they sing. I said, "Oh Lord, no, I can't take that out." And like when we finished the song, they all applauded just because they wanted to, because it was a joyful thing, and I wouldn't let them take that out either. I wanted to leave all that in.
That's
because
wonderful.
That's the joy of music. That's what music is about. Something you enjoy with love in it. You can't punch a button and take out emotion. You don't overdub enthusiasm, as somebody once said to me. You just can't do it.
That's right.
And if you try to mix enthusiasm out of something, you're making a worse mistake. So even though a lot of people said, well, the song will be much better and be much better understood without the laughing and talking, that has nothing to do with anything. I said, oh, but it does. It has everything to do with it.
Absolutely.
If for no other reason, for myself.
And it would be foolish to, when you do capture that type of spontaneity and magic, to throw it away for technical
not
purposes.
Me. I cannot do it. So that's...
so you've captured something very real. Very real.
Yeah, it is very real. And like even on the last of that, if you'll listen real close on the tag, I heard Kitty didn't know he was recording, Kitty Wells, which I think she is wonderful. She's one of the sweetest people in the world. And she didn't know we was recording it. They thought we was just practicing it. And we were singing to the soundtrack, and I heard her say, I said, oh, that's fine. And she said, was that the soundtrack? And you can hear it on the thing, but I wouldn't take that out either. I thought, because nobody would have noticed it had I not brought it up, because it's so far down in the fade. But she said, is that the soundtrack? And I thought that was so sweet and so honest and so cute. They just thought we was practicing it, but it was such a good feeling.
What else on the album stands out in your mind as having a particularly interesting or meaningful story behind it to you?
You Are is the last cut on the side one of the album. It's a real positive love song written about someone that I love very dearly. And, of course, I think it would fit anybody that you love. It's just a real positive, emotional thing. And it's one of my favorite things because of what it says and because of why I said it. Of course, the song There, I suppose I enjoy listening to more than any, because I have a love for inspiration.
Yeah, interestingly enough, that song being the last song on the album, it sounds like an emotional summary of where you were at. Even the up-tempo happy songs, and I'm not saying There is not happy, but it isn't up-tempo.
No.
It seems like an emotional summary of where you were at during the entire course of this album at this particular junction in your life. Am I right?
That's really funny that you noticed that, because that's exactly what I tried to do. I opened the album, side one, with Light of a Clear Blue Morning, to say, this is me, it's new freedom for me. I hope you like me, and I hope you'll accept this kind of an attitude, because it was, like it's been a long time since I've known the taste of freedom. And, like now I'm eager for the sky, and it's really like, so that's what I opened with. Then all this stuff in the middle, and then I wanted to end the album with this particular song called There, because I truly, I mean, a lot of people don't even believe in religion. They don't like to discuss it, but it's been my greatest inspiration because, like I say, being brought up in the country, I'm not a Christian. I don't claim to be anything other than the fact that I do believe and I have all the faith in the world. But I just think that all things good come from God, and I just never would have felt right to record an album for whatever reason without putting a touch of what I really think. If I have any talent at all, that's where it came from. So I just wanted to end the album with a sweeter thought to say thanks in my own mind.
Do you feel, and I gather the answer is going to be yes, but maybe you can describe it a bit, that talent, unlike, say, rational conscious thinking, but talent, that inspiration that'll hit you, cause you to write a song, is divinely inspired and beyond your own control?
You know, I truly believe that. And like I say, I'm not one to ever discuss religion. I never would argue religion. You know, if somebody wanted to really get into heated discussion, I'd just say I really don't feel I'm qualified. I don't know all I should know to be qualified to preach and all that. But I truly believe there is a divine power. And in my own case, being brought up in the country with no schooling, no reason to really want to do it other than just having a strange drive throughout my life, inner something that didn't really talk to me, but just a feeling that almost just says, well, you write this now, and here's a good idea. You know, that just pops in your mind right in the middle of other things, and it's strange to you. You think, well, now, why would I have thought of that? You know, that had nothing to do with anything. But it's just like mind waves go through the air, and it's just creative people are there for the taking. If you let them float on past, well, it's fine. Somebody else will catch them down the line. But if you're aware enough of what's going on around you, you can reach up and get you one. But it's like I'm an inspired writer. I write totally from inspiration. I don't write unless I feel a great need to. And sometimes I write some freaky things, and I can't even believe that I've written them myself after it's all over. Not that they're that great, but they...
You wonder where they came from.
Yeah, I thought, now, I ain't smart enough to thought of something like that myself. You know, you just... And you know you... But I think that's just that faith and belief. And even if there wasn't a heaven and not a God, I would still want to believe it. It's like people believing in Santa Claus. You need something to believe in. And I truly believe that there is something much greater than us, because it would be a boring life to live if we thought there was nothing beyond this. So anyway, when I'm gone, this will be here, and maybe if I'm real lucky, I'll go somewhere better.
You've given us the opportunity to see the many sides of your personality and the essence of Dolly Parton. Bringing it to terms of everyday existence in the music world, I have a feeling that where you're heading right now is to a massive appreciation of your talents, way beyond just the boundaries that we've put around country music. And I think this album is going to bring your music to a lot of people who are in for a very delightful surprise.
Well, I hope so, and I want you to know that as a person to person, I have really enjoyed being with you, and I just hope that the people that are listening to us have enjoyed as much as I have and as much as you've seemed to. So maybe someday we'll get to do it again, and I hope you're right about the album, because it is very personal to me, and I just hope everybody likes it.
It's been all of our pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you.